o'clock, and I like to start meetings on time so that we can end them on time. And it's so nice to see all of you here. Welcome. The first order of business tonight will be handled by Mr. Oh, we have to begin with the pledge. I apologize. Will our students please lead us?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I also would like to mention that our ninth board member, Mr. Oceana, who's away on a business trip, is remote, so he is joining us. Mr. Medancy will let me know when there's anything that has to be said. So our first celebration, we have some wonderful, wonderful celebrations tonight. Our first one is going to be done by Mr. Pepe.
So now, board members, you all have bios in your book, so we're not going to read the bios. Mr. Pepe will introduce our students and speak briefly, but you all have those bios for your benefit.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I have the privilege of introducing you tonight to our top 3 students of our graduating class this year. Absolutely incredible. We know part of education is learning from our students. Each one of these students has taught me something. When I take a look at the first student that I'll call up, he has a gift for, I'll say, charisma. And at the top 25 dinner, when he was called up, he asked for the recipe for the ziti. That was his lead-in. So it's just this larger than life, always smiling. And so when I think of Matthew Laponio, give him a round of applause. Come on up. Come on up. When I think of Matthew, I think of continuing to keep that smile and that positivity. Matthew, congratulations. Stay up here with me, please, as the SAS class of 2021. You got the photo op? Okay, all right. What's interesting is at the same dinner, my next student reminded me of something that I desperately need. And it was, I'll categorize it as mindfulness. And our salutatorian, Kevin Lee, give him a round, come on up. Kevin, as he addressed the room, reminded everyone that the academic prowess that they all achieved is incredible. And don't forget balance in your life. And that's something that we all have to keep in mind. And so you may not know that, but I ever since you said it that night, I've been thinking about it. That brings us to our class valedictorian. What to say about Gabriel? So Gabriel, it's no small feat to be the valedictorian of Southington High School in a class. Gabriel teaches me humility. He is by far one of the most humble students that I've ever met, ever had the pleasure to talk with. I feel like I've been, over the years, since DePaula, calling him to the podium for multiple reasons. So, everyone, I introduce you to Gabriel LeBlanc. Thank you.
What an honor it is for us as a board to have you with us tonight. Some of us remember listening to you speak at the Top 25 dinner. You did such a wonderful job. We are so, so very proud of you. And I can see some really big smiles on your families. And God bless you and good luck to you. Thank you. Our next celebration this evening are our scholar athletes, and that will be done by Mr. Risser, our athletic director.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Kennellan is allowing me to do something briefly before we introduce our scholar athletes. On behalf of the athletic program, I want to congratulate our girls softball team that's advanced to the championship game of the CIAC Class LL tournament against Fairfield Ludlow High School. The game will be played this Saturday, 3 o'clock at West Haven High School. So we hope that you maybe will be able to come out and support the girls. They're going for the 19th championship in the history of the school. That's the most championships by any team in softball in the state. So we're very excited about Coach Davina Hernandez and her team. If you want tickets to the game, they're online only at the CIAC website. If you have any difficulty getting them on your phone, just call the athletic office tomorrow and we'll help you out. I also want to just mention that this is a nice segue into our presentation for the scholar athletes. Our track team today was at the state open at New Britain, and they finished 4th in the state overall for the girls track team. So we want to congratulate them. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kennellan. So without further ado, in Southington Athletics Department, we say that academics plus athletics equals success. Tonight, we're recognizing 2 student athletes that epitomize the successful combination of excellence in academics combined with participation in interscholastic athletics. Each academic year, the Connecticut Association of Schools, in conjunction with the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and its member schools, select a female and male scholar athlete of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight it's my privilege to announce the 2021 Southington High School CAS CIAC female and male scholar athletes. And they are seniors Diane Pillsbury, and senior Kevin Lee. We'll just stand in the middle of it.
They can take pictures of you, yes.
And
Congratulations,
we'd
kids.
like to also mention that both the student athletes are members of the cross-country, indoor track, and outdoor track teams. 3 sport athletes along as scholars in the classroom. Congratulations, Kevin and Diane. Congratulations.
Announce that we're going to do the student reps next. Student reps.
Okay. And who am I turning this over to, Mrs. Carmody, to announce the new student reps? Brett, is that going to be
All right.
Amrit and Brett?
This is on.
Oh.
All right. Before we begin, I have a few words to say to our graduating seniors, Amrit, Brett. Thank you so much for being the best role models that you could be. You guys have taught me so much and have always been there for me, no matter what. I'm so grateful to be given the opportunity to work with both of you, and I have no doubt in my mind that you will both continue to do amazing things in the future.
These have been unbelievable student reps. They have added so much to our meetings. They have told us what we've done right, sometimes what we've done wrong. But they have always spoken up. They have contributed. They have been wonderful. They've been at all our meetings. And we are going to miss them terribly.
We'll be back.
You're going to be back to visit?
Of course.
Do you have a...
Say that.
I'm sure Joe's going to have something to say, too.
It's been an absolute pleasure to work with the both of you, and certainly this year has been an interesting year to say the very least, and the feedback that you had for us and some of the discussions that we had even in the public setting was phenomenal. So thank you guys for your input, and again, good luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Right now, good? Do we all look good?
Yes. Yes, that being said, it is our pleasure to introduce the new Board of Education student representatives, Ethan Solary and Angelina McCacci.
I didn't think I would know who.
We know you both will do amazing things for the board, and I can't wait to work with you. Again, congratulations, and we would love for both of you to say a few words about yourself.
So I'm Ethan Solary. I'm an incoming senior to SHS. I was also just elected as a class president for the 4th year. I'm also a part of SHS robotics team 195, the Cyberknights, and I was also elected as the senior vice president of Key Club. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody to make our last, or at least my last year, the best we can. So thanks again.
Hi, I'm Angelina McCacci. I'm currently a sophomore at Southington High School. I'm involved in FBLA, Interact Club, Drama Club, and Key Club, where I'm the district project director. And yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
We will continue our celebration. Mr. Cannellan, are you doing the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. For our last celebration of excellence this evening, we want to talk about a special group of individuals who are part of our organization. We know that it's been a very, very, very challenging year for everyone. And there's not one member of the Southington Public Schools as an organization that is not important to the success of this organization and to the success of every student here. But we do have one group that we wanted to call out especially, and that group is our Southington Public School nurses.
Yes.
Right? Now, most of them are a little on the shy side and probably will not brag about what they do except their love for children. So between Mrs. Danello, who's been practicing her pronunciation, Mr. Medancia, and myself, we're going to read the names. We have 22 individuals, and I want these read into the record. All of you who are school nurses have just done an amazing, amazing job this year in the face of some really difficult circumstances, and to say the least. That's probably an understatement. But we know and we value everything that you've done for the students this year and for the staff. You've been a comfort to parents. You've been a comfort to students. You've worked on the dreaded contact tracing diligently. You've done everything that you possibly could to help keep students and staff members safe, and we really appreciate it. Now, Mrs. O'Hara, Kathy O'Hara, who's a wonderful person, is not able to be with us this evening. Kathy O'Hara formed one of our core groups. Most of you probably don't know this, but every single weekend we had at least 4 of us, sometimes 5, including Michelle Barber, Mrs. Passamano, Mr. Medancia, and myself were on call because when a call came in for a student who was either identified as a close contact or a positive case, we really needed to work on the contact tracing, as I said, in order to try to keep people safe. That's what we were advised to do. That's what we had to do. And Mrs. O'Hara was so diligent, and I've got to tell you, always smiling. just such a positive, wonderful person. And I know she couldn't be here tonight. And so, Mrs. O'Hara, if you are listening, thank you, especially. Thank you very much. So I'm going to read a few names off, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Medancy. And we're doing this in no particular order, by the way. I did tell all the nurses in a communication earlier this week that they certainly did not have to be here. But if we read your name off and you are here, please stand up so that we can acknowledge you. And so we'll do this entire group, and if we can hold our applause till the end, and then we'll do applause for the entire group. So I already mentioned Kathy O'Hara, Amy Myron, Amy Arnold, Bethany Hooks, Cassie Messina, Denise Berry, Elizabeth McQuarters, and Eva Bonifant.
Heather Pelletier, Jacqueline Morosky, Joanne Donor, Kelly Osborne and Gracia, Kristen Bradley, Lisa Macchiarello, and Lori Danko.
Maritza Nadu, Marlene Carbone, Michelle Barber, Tammy Payne, Maureen Coleman, Millie Adorno, and Megan Kimball.
Thank you all, folks.
I have one more celebration that is not on the agenda, so I ask you all to bear with Colleen, Joe, and I for a few moments. And I also want to remind you all on your way out to please make certain that you look at the showcase done by Teresa Cosgrove, who did such a wonderful job for the students. It is absolutely beautiful, and I think you will all enjoy it. One more celebration. That's it.
Am I doing a good job so
You're
far?
doing a good
All
job.
right.
Now. Nice and strong.
All right, so things done.
He picks them up and puts them down.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Oh, is that on tape?
This evening, I'm never lost for words, but I think I might be right now. This is tonight. We as a board are going to be saying goodbye to Mr. Kennellan. This is his last meeting. For the last 7 years, I have had the privilege of working with a kind, gentle man. I don't think he would say the same thing about me, however. He's tried to teach me to behave, but I never have. The most admirable thing about Tim is that he has always, always put the best interest of children first, always. People may not agree with what he did and think he did the wrong thing, but trust me, everything he did was for the children of Southington, and I admire all of that about him. I'm going to miss him. He's become a friend of mine. I don't want to know what he'll say about me. I hope he considers me a friend. I'd also like to introduce his wonderful wife, if you would come up here too, Terry. Now, I want you to come up too before Tim. Because, of course, every wife has to put up with every husband, and I'm sure it hasn't been easy with the 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning phone calls on days where he had to call school off, or calls where people were not too happy with him, and so she had to keep him cool, calm, and collected. We have a gift from the Board of Education that Mrs. Clark and Joseph will present. And Tim, you may come down. Can you walk, Tim, down here? Can you make it?
So they kept telling me to come down there. I said, I have to wait till Mrs. Carmody allows me.
It's hidden behind the gift up here.
Come on.
No, I tried. We tried.
She did her best. You just rip it, Tim. It only took her 5 hours to wrap it, but.
I'll hold it if you want to.
don't bother. Just rip the darn thing. Go for it. You betcha. You
Tape, 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 is that?
tape, and more tape. It's a great package of cardboard. Cardboard. It's beautiful cardboard. Just watch.
Is there tape all over it?
You betcha you know what's this. There's tape all over it. Watch.
Maybe you should put it on the table, Tim.
Yeah, you can open it that way. Actually, what you can do. I do. Trust me. Well, we had to check it out first. So you can then, and then there's more cardboard. More cardboard. All right. In between is a sandwich. No, we're not. But in between the cardboard, you'll see why there's a lot of cardboard. In between the cardboard, where my fingers are. Just pull it out. Okay, Rube Goldberg. Don't break it.
Harry's like, what in the world?
Pull it out.
Now, Terry, look at this.
Oh, wow.
Tim and Terry, somewhere at the house, isn't it? I'll still call.
Now you get, now, Mrs. Cannellan, you can repack it. How's that?
Colleen, you have a few words, Joseph? Terry, we'll put it back here and then,
Put it back.
we'll get it in the car later.
Happy retirement. Happy retirement. For once, Mrs. Carmody, I really don't have much to say. You will be missed, Mr. Cannellan. You will be missed.
Mr. Darnowski? Thank you all.
Yes, I'd like to, I'll be real brief, but Tim, Mr. Cannellan, it's the 7 years that you've been here has been, we've had a lot of ups and downs, within the district. But because of you, I think, we weathered the storm very well. And I want to congratulate you on your retirement, and I hope you have a long, healthy, and happy time, and the same with Mrs. C.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Cannellan, I'd like to also thank you for your dedication. And what's great about a great leader is that you pass on a lot of traits along the way. And with what's coming forward in a revival and restructuring, you have led the way and path for greatness to follow. So you would be made proud in the coming years of what you've done for the district and what lies in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's there to say, Mr. Cannellan? It's been an absolutely fabulous, it's been 4 years that I've been on the board now, and essentially getting to learn more about the education system and everything else. You've been certainly an invaluable teacher to me, although that wasn't necessarily your role. But thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you and see all the great things that had been doing in Southington, and again, it just speaks to your leadership style as far as who we've been preparing and all the leadership that is staying behind with your leaving. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
I've probably known you longer than most of the board members. Tim, I knew you as a teacher, as a union president, and then as 6 years as a Board of Education member. And I have to say, in all those roles, I've had nothing but the utmost respect for you. And this past year has been, it's not news to anybody, but the worst year, the worst crisis in American public education we've ever had. And I will say you handle it better than anyone I know. I'm very familiar with other towns. I talk to a lot of teachers still around the state. And there were decisions you made, and I didn't always agree with them, although I must say, in the end of the day, you generally were more right than I was about some of them. But there was always going to be that 49% or whatever that were going to disagree with you and say, what a terrible thing you did. But as Terry said, and I think it's so true, you always put the students first. And that was the guiding light in the decisions you made. And it's very difficult to fault someone who has our students as the best thing in mind. So, and at the end of the day, I don't think there's another town in the state, and I've said this before to you, and I really mean this, that did it any better than Southington. And it wasn't easy, and it wasn't perfect. Nobody gets it perfect, because it was new and different and very difficult for everybody. But I think you got it right, and I think we got it as right as you can get it. I just want to thank you, and I hope to still see you. Now know you in a new role. And you've taught us a lot, too, and your leadership has been just so extraordinary. So thank you, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so Tim, I'd like to congratulate you on your retirement, and quite honestly, everybody else on the board here kind of said what I was going to say, so I don't want to repeat it, but I do know that it's been a tough 1.5 years that I've been on the board. Certainly, probably the toughest in likely your career. It's going to be tough to fill your shoes. So, Steve, you got a tough role to fill there. Oh, sorry. Yes. But anyways, just I know that you've always had the best interest of the students in all the tough decisions you made over the last year and a half. I wish you the best, and quite honestly, I'm a little envious of you. So I'd like to be retiring myself. So.
Thank you, James.
Go ahead.
All right, can you hear me? Hey, Mr. Cannellan, I wish I could be there this evening to wish you well. I know I'll see you before you leave. And I want to thank you for the last 7 years. This last year has been, I don't even know how to describe this last year. It's been a horrible, hello, Tim. I'm glad I could see you. It's been a horrible year, but you made some very difficult decisions, and you made the decisions that were in the best interest of our students to make this a safe, productive year. And by the way, not just for our students, but for the staff, the teachers, and the families in the town of Southington. But importantly, your legacy should not be defined by 1 year. You have 7 years of building a district, building a team, putting together the vision of the graduate, putting together so many things that will be long lasting and embedded in the students that have gone through our district through your period of time and well after your period of time because of what you built. So thank you. Thank you for shepherding this district through some very good and some very difficult times. You're a very caring man. You're a very humble man. You don't seek the limelight. I think you run away from the limelight. You want others to get the credit for what's going on in this district. You deserve a big round of applause and some amazing credit for what you've done. And I thank you personally, and on behalf of the town of Southington, I think we all thank you. So a long, happy, and healthy retirement to you, and the best to you and to Terry. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Zay. Appreciate that.
We've had our conversations. We're good.
Yeah.
So, all, please, can we all have a round of applause for our He hates every minute of it. We're going to have a little 5-minute recess so that we can congratulate the students, our nurses, scholar athletes, and our new student reps that are here. So we'll take maybe a 5-6 minute recess, okay? Thank you.
Hey, Terry, would Mr. Cannellan like to say anything, or?
Maybe he would. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Joe. I forgot all about you. Do you have any words of
Thanks,
wisdom?
Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Thought I was going to get away with that for a minute there.
Not today, Mr. Cannellan.
That is, it is really hard for me. I do think that there are a lot of people who actually do the real work. And I do want to, so I want to thank you all. I do want to take a moment to thank members of our administrative leadership team, and especially all of our staff. I said it a minute ago, there's not one person who doesn't play a valuable role in ensuring the success of our students here. And I'm very serious when I say that. I think some of you know, my mom worked in North Haven Public Schools for many years, and taught me that. She was a clerical person, and she taught me that every single person is important. You can't run your organization without anyone. And I've felt that way, sincerely, for my entire career, and I feel that way now. So I really appreciate all the work that everyone has put in. I've seen it over the last 7 years, and people here work hard. I say it all the time. Staff are tired of hearing me say it, but we have worker bees here, and people come to school every day and knock themselves out for our kids. I see Bob, Gary nodding his head. You're right. What I'm saying is absolutely true. People come every day and they knock themselves out for these kids. Our teachers, paraeducators, custodians, our bus drivers, our crossing guards, everybody does. And it's just amazing to watch. I've worked in a lot of districts over my career, and not just because I live here and my children went to school here, but I've got to tell you, this is absolutely the best district that I've worked in my entire career. That spans 45 years. Now, I do want to say one other thing, because we didn't get a chance to do it in person, and because we are in person. I want to personally and in public congratulate both Mr. Medanti and Mr. Pepe. I think it's a wonderful combination, and for both of you and for all of our staff, I wish you all tremendous success in the future, and of course for everyone to be safe and healthy. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Five-minute break.
In the meeting. So it was just a real pleasure to have a celebration. And our next agenda item is communication from the public. Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak?
Point of order, Mrs. Carmody.
Oh, approval of minutes. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Good thing I have a good board that helps me remember what I'm doing. May I have a motion for the minutes of our May 27th meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second.
Did I forget a second?
Mrs. Carmody, slow down.
Okay.
Take a breath, Mrs. Carmody.
I'll go it. All right.
Okay.
All right. Now I believe is the time for communication from the public. And any communication from the public will be limited to 3 minutes, and we will have a time. And we should come to the podium. We ask you to please give your name and your address, and anyone that speaks. I was going to have a piece of paper. I guess we didn't put it up there for you to put your name and address down. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Okay. Just put that down.
Sure. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Valerie Ragucci. I live at 102 West Street in Plantsville, Connecticut. And I'm here as a parent tonight, also representing other parents in the district. So I want to tell you that I stand here before you to discuss my concerns on what is considered to be a sensitive subject to many, especially now during Pride Month in town. Southington parents have recently discovered that Southington school teachers are taking it upon themselves to show movies on LGBTQ plus sexuality without parental permission. Despite a memo that was sent out today from Superintendent Tim Connellan and an article in the Record Journal citing this as a one-time isolated issue, I can assure you this is untrue. I know this because I've spoken to other parents and kids in this district who want to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation. Forcing kids to watch LGBTQ plus videos has occurred in more than one Southington school. It has also occurred in different grades with different teachers. Yes, the issue has been confirmed and identified by multiple parents and kids in Kennedy Middle School in grades 6th and 7th, as well as in 9th grade social studies classes in Southington High School. I've been told by the future superintendent of schools, Steve Medancy, that discussing LGBTQ plus sexuality is not part of our town Board of Ed approved curriculum, and that he was unaware this was happening. So why, as most recent as this past Monday, are teachers in Southington schools still taking it upon themselves to show this unapproved curriculum material to our children and also behind parents' backs? In doing research on this subject, it shows how unhealthy it is to promote and teach sexuality in a public school setting to impressionable and innocent children. As we now know, LGBTQ plus sexuality is being aimed at all ages, starting in elementary, but especially the middle schoolers who are going through puberty. In many schools across America, kids are being taught there's over 58 plus genders, and because of this, many do start to identify as one of them, and they now think they were naturally born this way. This is not teaching love and inclusion. This is causing confusion, depression, stress, and anxiety in some of our children. This is causing a new generation to identify as pansexual. If you don't know what a pansexual is, I urge you to ask a Kennedy or DePaulo middle schooler what a pansexual is.
Excuse me, your 3
Yes.
minutes are up.
Okay.
So you will have to conclude.
Okay, I will conclude. So I feel this is an attack on our children, and as parents, it's our duty to protect our kids from this unhealthy mental indoctrination. Children need a traditional, unbiased, political, free school learning environment, free from this bullying, sexual, gender harassment, to grow up to become happy, healthy, well-adjusted young adults who can then decide on their own, when older, who they want to be. With the help of God, let's bring common
Time is
sense
up now,
education
Valerie. I'm very
back.
sorry. Thank you.
I ask the Southington Board of Ed
That
to
time was
support
up.
the removal of all LGBTQ material from schools immediately and not be added as part of any future Board of Ed approved curriculum. Thank you.
Any other public communications?
Good evening. My name is Alexandra Gizica Anderson. I live at 659 Prospect Street, and I am a parent of 2 children in the district, and I am a taxpayer. Thank you so much for letting me speak today. It is my understanding that the Southington School District is the recipient of a one-time COVID relief funding coming from the federal government, which amounts to a few $1,000,000. Given that it is a one-time sum, most financial advisors would not allow these funds to be used for ongoing and recurring operational expenses, for example, salaries or any other expense which could have to continue on despite the funds being utilized. Utilizing these funds for operational expenses would set up all Southington taxpayers for a massive fiscal cliff 2 years down the line. I would like to understand what these funds will be used for and hopefully confirm that they are, in fact, not going to be spent on operational expenses, which will trigger a massive tax hike in the future. Any board member or school administrator is welcome to speak on the subject, and I just look forward to understanding how the money will be spent. Thank you.
Anyone else for public communication?
Thank you very much. My name is Tom Galvin from 40 Richmond Court in Southington. And just wanted to follow up with what Valerie said, that is my opinion and the opinion of many fellow citizens and parents that celebrations of any kind of special group or giving preference to a group like gay pride or LGBTQ or anything based on race has no place in the public schools. It's divisive, and it's the prerogative of parents, not the state, to determine what children are taught about fundamental moral, religious, and philosophical issues. Students likewise have a constitutional right to freedom of speech and the free exercise of religion. Southington Public Schools should not force them to engage in activities that violate their consciences or endorse messages that they find objectionable. Parents, not the government or schools, have the right to decide how and when to teach their children about topics such as gender and sexuality, and to teach them in accordance with their own moral values and religious values, morals and religious values. Pride celebrations in schools promulgate the non-scientific belief that gender is fluid, and that traditional beliefs about marriage are rooted in bigotry, and that undermines parental rights. Pride celebrations in schools are a form of reverse discrimination against traditional heterosexual couples and their families in violation of Connecticut General Statute Section 10-15C, etc. Thank you very much.
Any other public communications?
Hi, I'm Michael Krasansky. I live at 27 Hitching Post Drive in town. I'm here to talk about mask and unmasking, but first I want to thank everyone on the board and the school system for how they've handled COVID. I think they did a great job. I was a big proponent of wanting my kids in school and not learning virtually. I know in a lot of towns, my brother's town, they didn't have that opportunity. So the first thing I want to say is thank you. You did a great job. Very happy with how it was handled in this town. And I'm very happy with the Southington school system overall. I have 5 children. All have gone through the school system. Very, very satisfied customer. So that's what I want to say to first off. And I love Southington. I'm a big fan of the town. Very happy with this town. What I'm more specifically here to talk about is the masks, the mask mandate for children attending Southington Public Schools. From my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, the studies I've seen show that kids generally do not get very sick or sick at all from having COVID, okay? And they do not spread COVID. For adults working in the school system, okay, they have ample opportunity to be vaccinated. Everyone's had an opportunity. School doesn't start till the end of August. If someone is fearful of COVID, that's fine. You can get vaccinated. There's no issue there. So I don't see that as a reason to keep kids in masks. We're all unmasked here. My daughters despise wearing masks. Okay, they don't like it. Some people like it. That's their prerogative. That's great for them. Wear your mask. But I don't, and my kids don't. So I don't see the reason for it at this point. If you want to wear a mask, great. Please do it. You have the opportunity to do that in school. But we all want to get back to normal, and I think masks are a hindrance and a thing that's going to block us from getting there. It's a very visible thing that kind of makes us more reclusive. It distances people from each other, particularly children. That's my opinion on it. Let's let kids be kids again. Let's get back to normal. We can't force people to wear masks forever, okay? At some point, this has got to go away. My logic is that it should go away the first day of school for people who don't want to wear masks. I understand there's governor mandate. I don't know a lot about laws. I'm not a lawyer. My brother is, but I'm not. And my understanding is his emergency powers will end in July. Maybe that'll be extended. I don't know. But I also understand that change doesn't happen without pressure. Nothing changes until people stand up and say, okay, well, we can't do this. It's this person's decision. This person has the power. That can all change when people speak their mind. That's my opinion. So let's see what happens in July. But I'm going to say that there's going to be a big problem with my family and probably a lot of other families who aren't here to speak tonight if masks are going to be required to be worn by kids. And if certain people have issue with that, I would say let those kids learn from home. And let the kids who don't want to have a mask go to school. If you're that fearful, great. You can wear a mask. You're still fearful. Learn from home. So that's all I have to say.
Any other public communications?
Hi, my name is Susan Zabahansky, 28 Working Street in Plantsville. I'm here also in objection to any kind of sexuality being promoted in the school systems. I understand from the email that was sent by the superintendent that this was supposedly an isolated situation and that it's going to be handled as a personnel matter. But I think the public needs to know how this is going to be handled with the two teachers who put this into a curriculum when they were not supposed to. So I think we'd like to see some kind of action being taken against these two teachers and understand the consequences of teaching curriculum that's outside of approved curriculum. So I would hope that we would get a response to that and we'd understand how it's handled in the future, especially from our Board of Ed members. I understand it's a personnel issue, but the Board of Ed is responsible for placing supervision over the superintendent and how he handles things in the school system. So it's Board of Ed, superintendent, school. So I'd like to see that our Board of Ed really put pressure on this because this is not, sexuality should not be promoted in the school system without the parental consent. And because it's not an approved curriculum, how are we going about making sure that this doesn't happen again in the school system? This isn't the only thing that's been taught that's not within the curriculum. So I think our Board of Ed really needs to be an oversight for the superintendent and then in turn for the teachers. I also wanted to bring up about the masks. My daughter has been attending school all year without mask mandate. They did it very successfully in Southington. They just did the social distancing, which was what was required. They did do masks when there was a group environment, and we had no outbreaks, major outbreaks from our school system. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Again, the governor did put a mandate in place. However, it does not regulate school systems, as I think we got the email saying. Letter F of the current mandate, which was dated by the governor on May 20th, says, "Nothing in this order shall limit the authority of the Commissioner of Education or the Commissioner of Early Childhood to issue operational rules, including but not limited to mask or face covering requirements." Therefore, I think no matter what happens, our Board of Ed needs to be putting pressure on the Commissioner of Education. I talked to them today. I did not get an answer as to if they have any regulations regarding school systems. So the major mask mandate that everybody keeps sending information about that the governor issued does not necessarily pertain to the school system. So I wanted to make you all aware of that. If you look at letter F in the current mandate, and I can send that to, I think I did send it to some members of the Board of Ed. If they want to pass it along to the others, to the superintendent, I can also send it to them. So it's our job as a school system to put pressure on the commissioner to say we don't want masks on our kids. It can be done successfully. It has been done successfully. Our school wasn't the only one that didn't require mandate.
Your time is up. I
Okay,
thank you
thank
for
you.
your thoughts. Time's up. Thank you. Any other public communications?
Just really quick, my name's Effie Mutajanas. I live on 53 Rustic Oak Drive. I heard about the video. I watched the video with the being an ally, and I'm fine with it. I have a lot of friends that are gay that I've known since middle school, elementary school, and they dealt with a lot of shame and didn't want to live or be alive many times. So if, it was great that we supported the kids today, and I'd like to see us supporting the kids in many ways. I don't think we're promoting sexuality, but we're promoting that they will be accepted and supported no matter what happens. I have a friend who, he knew he was gay from a little kid and grew up in the Catholic Church, and he was prepared to just kill himself. So, I would like to think that we're going to promote a community of support for the kids, no matter what their inclinations are. And, that's just my main point. I don't want the kids to feel like, as they're growing up and developing feelings, which are normal, especially middle school, we're going into high school. I don't want them to think that they're not going to be supported by friends and family. And I think the video was more about being an ally to kids that are friends in the school, not the sexuality. It didn't talk really about, oh, you might be having these feelings, so, those feelings are normal. It was more about, don't be jerks to your friends that may or may not be gay. So, that's it. I don't have anything prepared. I just wanted to make sure we're supporting the kids and not foisting our beliefs, and just being there for our kids in all the ways that we can. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else, public communications?
Good afternoon. My name is Zbigniew Prusak. I live at 79 Hitching Post Drive here in town. And I would like to speak a little bit to the masks. First of all, I would like to say big thank you to the Board of Education, representatives of the school administration, for what is, in my opinion, very level-headed approach to education throughout the whole year during the COVID. That kids in our town really did have opportunity to attend the classes. So I cannot overemphasize that and how grateful I am for that. Even though at the beginning of this school year it was 2 days possible, but still there was an opportunity. There was a very clear will. There was a light at the end of the tunnel that school is looking for the best of the kids. As far as this academic year is ending in a week, so it is what it is. But for the planning for the next school year, I really would like to see the kids being free of masks. I witnessed during the spring semester masks being required to be worn on the fields. kids doing track and field, running sprints, short sprints, long distances, they were required to wear a mask. I'm not sure if any one of you has tried that. I'm going to leave it at that. And all what is happening is that kids are turning away from coaches, they drop the mask, and they run. We're not teaching them anything good by having the expectations that are completely unrealistic. Outside, even at the height of the pandemic, there was absolutely no danger. The social distancing of 6 feet, I'm not sure if anybody is aware how that was established. Why in America we have 6 feet, in Canada they have 2 meters, which is close to 7 feet, in Australia is 2 meters, in Europe is 2 meters. There is no rhyme and reason for all of it. It's actually, if anybody's interested, it's a old science from a century and a half ago related to tuberculosis. So I would ask to the board and the administration to use science-based approach in decision making for the masks. Simply put, when we breathe air, that is healthy air, there is 0.06% of CO2. And CO2 is a toxic gas. There are no two ways about it. It's a toxic gas. When we exhale, it's 4%, and this is already on a toxic level. If I have that thing on, I'm trapping a big amount of it inside. The breath doesn't go through. And these masks, like if I wear a mask myself, I'm not protected from anybody here. Everybody is protected from me should I be sick. It's that way that it works, not what majority of people have a perception of it. So I ask
Very sorry, but your time is up, sir. Thank you.
All right, I'll stop at that, and I count on good approach to it that will benefit the children. Their brains need oxygen at a level of 21%, not 16% when they breathe. Thank you very much.
Anyone else on public communications?
Good evening. My name is Brian Goralski, 80 Buckland Street, former colleague of many of you. Good to see you again, Madam Chair, former colleagues, new colleagues I wish I had the pleasure of serving with, getting to know you, perhaps helping you grow as board members. Need to see the chairman of the town council with us this evening. That's always good when there's communication between the boards. Before I go into why I'm here, which is of course the celebration of Mr. Connell, a man I'm proud to call my friend, I always had a habit when I was on the board to address things that are said publicly, and I'm going to address one thing that was said by Alexandra, was her name, I believe, about COVID funding. Due to the chairwoman sitting in the corner over there and her council's action to reduce funding and direct you to use that COVID funding, you have no choice but to use a funding cliff and create exactly what she said, taxes to raise in the future. That should have been communicated. I'm really excited that Mrs. Triano's here tonight. So that you could begin to foster the communication I was so proud to be a part of when I served on this board. With other chair people in the past, that was one of my greatest prides, is that communication. Mr. Medina, I wish you the absolute best in your role as superintendent to foster that we had in the past, that Mr. Cannell and I shared early on in our time together, and that we bring that back. Communication is the key to success of government. So her being here tonight is a great positive in my mind. And I challenge you all to avoid those funding cliffs by bringing communication back to government. I'm proud of the way the Board of Ed does it, now and when I served. I'm proud of how the Board of Finance studies and articulates and communicates. I want all of government to communicate, so I challenge you guys to take Ms. Triano presence tonight as an opportunity to grow that communication for the next budget, so we don't have the very funding cliff she talked about, that it was dictated to you by their action in the cutting of your budget. The other issues tonight, I trust you, your leadership, to address the videos and the curriculum of our schools. You do a great job with that through the leadership of the superintendent. Continue to fix curriculum, make sure all teachers are consistent with that. I, in some way or another, credit the parents for the time they took to be here. Masks, I study science. I go with what I know. I'm not a doctor. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go to why I'm here. Mr. Cannellan, I served on this board for 16 years. I had the privilege of working with 3 superintendents. No one in my public life had a better vision towards how school systems should be run. No one I served with and no one I worked with was less political. No one cared less about what people thought of themselves than you. No one had a higher moral character, and no one had a better focus of kids first. One of the people before you who I admire greatly to this day, Karen Smith, brought kids first to my vocabulary. Karen Smith, God rest her soul, was one of the greatest women I ever met. She spoke it, she spread it, you live it. And Mr. Cannellan, it was the greatest honor that I served with you. It's the greatest honor to be here tonight to celebrate your retirement. I love what they gave you as a gift. I hope you have nothing but happiness there with your family. Violating executive privilege, which you can't do a damn thing to me about because I'm a regular citizen now. Back when we hired you, you said to us, when you hire me, you hire my family. You all know one of them, and you'll see her when you name me publicly. That was Terry, the picture lady from Southington that we all knew through.
Ryan.
My time's up.
Oh, it's way up. but
Okay, Tim, I wish you well. I wish you success, happiness, and all you do in life. Students, go on and be great. You set great role models for her. Now you're the role model for the new. Your opinion matters more than anyone else here. She's going to gavel me in a minute.
I could never shut him up.
I told her she was going to gavel me. Never be afraid to speak your mind. I spoke to
Never.
never be afraid to speak your mind. The opinions of kids matter more than anything else.
I tried.
Love you, my friend. God bless all of you. Wish you well.
Thank you, Brian.
I didn't write my name. You know where I live.
I knew you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, next on are there any other public comments? Next on our agenda, we have communication from Board of Ed members. Mr. Darrenowski.
Yeah, I just want to take a quick note, and I gave Brett and Emma a kind of a heads up that I was going to hit on them. But real quick, I wish you well, in your college careers. I know you're going to do very well, and I think we've said this year after year after year. This is the 24th year that the board has actually had student reps, okay, as part of the board. And in all those years, we say we can't believe it, but the ones that are leaving are probably the best we've seen. And I mean, your involvement with the school, with the board, is probably one of the best that we've seen. Each team as they leave has their own little characteristics that they bring to the board and leave. But I think you've grown since you first started representing the school, with the board, and a great job. Okay, we again wish you very, very much luck. I think Angelina, Ethan, you've got some tough shoes to fill, but I do have a lot of faith that you'll be you're going to achieve great things, with your time here. So good luck to you all, and you have to come back and visit us your first break from college, just to say hi and let us know how you're doing.
Good, thank you, Mr. Darrenowski. Any other board members? Bob?
Yeah, I want to also congratulate the students and the ones we honored who aren't here anymore, and our incoming representatives, and thank the outgoing representatives and the nurses also. It's wonderful because there is controversy about a lot of things. It's wonderful to celebrate the good in this town, the good in our schools, the good that our students do, that our staff does. We need to do more of that and celebrate. And as Tim said, this is a great school system, it really is. I do want to talk about an event. I'm part of the Southington Coalition for Social Justice, along with Steve and Frank, and I don't know if anyone else here is part of the Missy, that's right, I'm sorry.
There she is, right next to you.
Yep. And there's an event next Wednesday. SOCA is sponsoring this along with the Southington Coalition for Social Justice. There's an organization called Rise Up for the Arts, and they are proposing to partner with 38 towns in Connecticut to create a large-scale mural for each year of Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. What they're going to do is have a public discussion and ask for input from the public about what this should be and how this should go. It's going to be next Wednesday at SOCA at 5:30. The public is invited. You can attend in person. Tell the people there what you think should or shouldn't happen or whatever, or you can attend virtually. If you do want to attend, you need to sign up. It's on the SOCA website. I just signed up yesterday to, in fact, attend. So that's next Wednesday. It's a discussion of this co-sponsored event, which is happening next, and build the creating a mural. So I'd answer any questions if you have about that, but it is something that's wonderful also for our town.
All right, thank you, Bob. Any other board members? Joe?
If I may. The students, congratulations on serving your term, and certainly good luck to you with your endeavors, and looking forward to hearing about things. I know that Dave mentioned coming back to visit us, but again, I know time is very valuable. So if you don't have a chance, certainly an email or a text message is always good too, just to let us know that you're still kicking it and doing well. So.
Dave wants him here.
I want him here. Well, Dave's old school, so he likes the in-person. I'd like to thank the community for coming out today. I think this is exactly how local government's supposed to work, is the input of community members, and it's good in the sense where we have the push and pull, right? We have to mitigate our separate realities and make sure that we're ultimately doing, especially in the school system, what's right for kids. I'm invested in the school system. I'm a product of Southington. I have 2 kids in elementary school, so it's near and dear to my heart. Whether it's things related to curriculum and what we're teaching kids, it's important that we continue to make sure that we're doing it effectively, and we're doing it across the board effectively too. So, thank you so much for coming out today and giving us your input, and certainly whatever we could, certainly myself as one of 9 to be of assistance, would be happy to do so.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm going to go, Mrs. Carmody. I want to just echo Joe. Also, thank you, parents and everybody in the community, for coming out and speaking. It is with that trust that we work well together for the best interest of our community, our students, and our parents. And your communication is important to us, and we want you to entrust us, as you have in the past and in the future, that we have the best interest in mind for our students and all those in our community. So I just want to say thank you for coming out and speaking. And again, as Joe said, if there's anything else that we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. I want to give a couple updates because it's the end of the school year. I am the STEPS representative for the Board of Education, and they are culminating their year, and Megan's here and left the kids at Sloper having a party. I mean, really? But thank you for being here. Under the new leadership of Megan this year, the Youth Council continued to meet through the pandemic. They continue to set goals for themselves and how to deal with assets in our schools, and it's a great thing. I won't go through the entire list of updates for time purposes, but we are very grateful for Youth Council member Mary Miller, was a Youth Leadership YMCA this year. That's a very proud moment for us this year. We're also we're very excited for the 4th and 5th grade classroom for all the vaping prevention that went on through STEPS. I'm not sure exactly how many numbers of schools between Megan and Officer Laporte that they went around to give these vaping presentations. But if you didn't catch one, they are absolutely informative, educational, and definitely worth watching. So thank you to STEPS and the Students' Council. It was a big privilege, and I can't wait to see what they do being together again next year. On a different note, I would like to highlight the lunch program. As you know, that our district took it a step further during this pandemic to make sure that no student was without breakfast, lunch. They prepared bag meals. They rearranged schedules so parents could pick up the meals at DePaulo to Daranowski to make sure that education but feeding was not an issue during these hard times. I want to assure you that that is not going to be amiss as school closes. Southington Bread for Life is going to continue doing summer lunch feeding program for those families who are in need. There's going to be a pickup starting June 21st at DePaulo. We're going to be meeting at Summerbrook 3 times a week to supply lunches as well. And as always, Bread for Life is always open to serve meals to those families in need, those students in need, no matter what it is. So I want to encourage that. I also wanted to talk about, it's a little Bread for Life hit, but second hat, community garden. We have a community garden at Bread for Life, and our Stellar program came out to plant a pollinator garden for us. These students came out, it was hot, they brought their shovels, they brought their gloves, and they dug the garden. Now, this hasn't been dug, this area, and in the garden, they found a heart-shaped rock. They were so excited, and I was getting a phone call, and we found a heart rock, what do we do with it? And plant it. They took it a step further, and they planted this heart-shaped rock that they found that was naturally created, and created a larger heart-shaped rock around that, because they believed the love of Southington was for them. And I can't tell you that day how I almost cried, and they planted their seeds. They spent 3 hours of their day planting a pollinator garden with the love of Southington. So the Stellar program, I just thank them so much, and it was just a great thing. And segue into pollinated gardening for our bees at Bread for Life. We have 3 functional beehives. These beehives are an enterprise that we're pulling our Southington students into on a ground level of a marketing, VOAG, and a community building project. We have a student from Karen Smith Academy who works tirelessly every Wednesday. It was 91 degrees yesterday. She had a bee suit on. Lost about 4 ounces, let me tell you. But, Southington Honey Company will be in a store near you soon, and we're proud to have our students involved in this great enterprise. So that's all for my report.
That had to be wonderful, finding that heart.
Oh, it was beautiful.
That had to be
It was
great.
beautiful.
That was amazing. Does Mr. O'Shan have something? Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
Again, I want to apologize for not being there this evening, but I wanted to make sure I was online so I could participate in the meeting. I have 3 things I want to say. First is I just want to let you know, and I think you know now, the live feed is not working. So I'm hoping the recording is working so that this will be able to be published. But it made it partway into the public communications, but then the feed went down. Second thing, I know we've talked about this a few times at our meetings, and it was brought up this evening about the funding cliff. I just want to reiterate what we've said at some of our meetings in the past. I mean, if we have to use grant funds to pay for operating expenses so that we could have things working in the district and use those to run the district as it needs to be run, when those funds are gone, when that grant goes away, those items are still going to need to be funded. So we're not going to be able to fund them with grant funds. We're going to have to use operating budget dollars that may or may not be there. And that's the fiscal cliff that people keep talking about. So we're going along paying with funds from a grant. Those grant dollars are gone.
Is that it, Zaya?
We lost him.
We lost him. I don't know how to.
that has nothing to do with that. One is Zoom and one is. This is just for me.
Battery died?
Is that him?
Battery?
Oops. Let me just tell him.
It's not recording.
Does he want to call in, or?
What? It's not recording?
I'm telling him to hold on.
I will, okay.
I did. I already
You did? Okay.
It makes me think of what teachers must go through this year.
Yeah, I know.
With the snafus,
day.
with all the technology and everything. Bless them.
Technology always works perfectly. What are you
You
talking
told
about?
them it didn't work
Not
now.
in my house, should be the technology down in Tennessee. That's true.
No, the battery died on the laptop.
Yeah, I think it's the battery.
Yeah, but think about it. Aren't you glad that we're in person? You don't have to listen to me messing up on the computer?
Sure.
It is kind of nice. You've got mail. You've got mail.
Do you guys just want to FaceTime him and put his thing up to the mic?
Yeah, you know what? We
That's
were
what I
waiting
was-
to, we were kind of
Can he
waiting.
call in?
At it? Right, he's coming back on. Oh, he's coming
He's
back on.
coming back on,
He's
so.
coming back on.
See? Thinking outside the box. I like it. I like it.
Where's your IT guy?
can't hear him, though. He's asking me, can we hear him?
No.
No. So what do I do? Just tell
Say
him.
no.
Yeah, it's a nice report. Except the part where I'm allergic to bees. Allergic to bees. Listen, every year a white-faced hornet lands on my head, gets me, and I turn into Franks and bees. I don't know. I can't trust it. I love honey. Don't get me wrong. I'd be a terrible bear.
Steve, do you want me to move on and come back to him? What should I do?
Maybe let the students comment, and then we'll put it
Yeah, okay. You know what? You don't, can he hear us, do you think? You don't know. Okay, Zay, if you can hear us, we're moving on, and if we get you, we'll come back to you. We're gonna go on to the students.
Oh, wait, what about
So student reps,
We're missing admin.
Are we doing admin?
I can't hear you.
Administrative report first.
What?
The administration.
Oh, the administrative, I'm sorry. I was, administrative report first. I'm sorry.
All set, Mrs. Carmody? All set?
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
Okay, thank you. We have a few items. I'm going to do the first. Mr. Medancy has a couple, and then Mrs. Danello is going to follow up with one. The first item is just, I just wanted to thank Unico for their support. Some of us were able to attend the Top 25 dinner the other night. They have just done an amazing job supporting our students in school. They just have been great partners, and I wanted to publicly thank them for that. And I don't know if people realize how much support Unico provides, but they're a wonderful organization, and they brought our top 25 students to AquaTurf, and that's one of the first real indoor celebrations that we've had. It was a really wonderful event, so we're thanking them. Mr. Medancy, are you ready for? Okay, we'll let Mrs. Danello go, so we'll jump to 4. Mrs. Danello.
Sure. I would just like to follow up on the comments made by Ms. Cipriano. She was filling you in about the upcoming summer lunch program that Bread for Life is offering. And I just wanted to let the community know that the Grab and Go program that we've been currently running for the remote meals is going to end after the last 2 days, June 14th and 16th next week. So Monday and Wednesday, we'll continue to have the remote Grab and Go at DePaulo scheduled that we've done throughout the year. However, then we'll be transitioning, and Bread for Life is picking up really where we left off, offering it 3 days a week at DePaulo Middle School, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and the times will be from 11:15 to 12:15. And they were nice enough, Donna Ayers reached out, the executive director, to partner with us so that the times could make sense for many families in town. We have hundreds of students that are attending summer school, and so we tried to align the times so that parents could get in through DePaulo, and then also the parents that may be picking up their students from our summer school program will be able to stop right through DePaulo to pick up meals as well. And as she mentioned, Bread for Life and Summerbrook Apartments will also be having the lunch program. So we thank the Bread for Life for picking up over the summer for us.
Thank you, Mrs. Danello. Mr. Medancy, back to you.
Sure, just a couple updates. The summer school update, we are in the process right now. We know of the elementary numbers. We have currently over 300 students that will be coming to summer school with us this, from July 6th to July 26th. And we have, we'll be using the air-conditioned middle school at DePaulo for 3rd through 5th graders, and then Kennedy in the high school for the secondary students, combination of programming there as well. For our K2 students, we're going to use conditioned spaces at Hatton Elementary School. As folks have mentioned tonight, the executive order is in effect until July 20th, so we will be asking students to wear masks during the summer programming, but again, in air-conditioned spaces. With that said, I think the timing is good here in terms of talking about the return to in-person plan and update. There will be an opportunity for public input at some point when we begin to progress and as we get better information from the state and the Department of Public Health. With that said, also, our plan as part of the ESSER 3 requirement is to have a plan posted publicly by June 23rd. Now, much of that is due to states around the country that have not been open up to this point. So it's about what is your plan going to look like for the fall for districts that haven't done anything. The guidance that we've gotten from the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents is more so along the lines of what is your current plan, and then what language, if you will, can be deleted based on what's no longer relevant or applicable to what the state of affairs was last summer. And so we know some of the mitigation strategies have been relaxed. We know there's some flexibility in quarantining periods. We know a lot more about the instructional strategies that we can utilize and what worked and what didn't work. What we're not finalized on is things like mask wearing, because we don't know what that looks like for students 12 and under, based on the vaccine schedules for those students and who has the ability or availability to get that, and what that might allow us to do in terms of unmasking. So what it will be is that masks will be optional unless otherwise directed to do so under, the whether it's the governor, the commissioner, or the Department of Public Health, CDC. So there's what I would caution for families is what you see posted on June 23rd is probably an iteration of what will look like in the fall. It's absolutely likely and subject to change throughout the course of the summer as we get more information and have time to do that. That's it.
Steve, restart the meeting for Isaiah. Restart, he said.
Okay, Mrs. Carmody, that's it for our administrative report.
You done? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I'm trying to stay in order, but I've kind of messed up tonight.
No, it's fine. It's
Um,
perfectly appropriate to move on to the students at this point.
All right, so are we all set? Okay. So now I'm going to the student reps.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations again to all of our award winners, our new student reps, our graduating senior reps, and Mr. Cannellan. Thank you so much for all you do for our community, and you will be missed dearly. We would like to begin with Southington High School's Mental Health Club. Miss Pescatelli would like to mention that in the month of May, which is also Mental Health Awareness Month, SHS's Mental Health Awareness Club raised $125 for Hartford's Institute of Living through our bracelet sales. This is more than they expected to raise, and they are so thankful that SHS staff and students were so willing to participate and support them. The club is already excited to start strong next year and has already been brainstorming some start-of-the-year activities and possible guest speaker options.
Just to continue off of that, we recently had prom last week. It was fun. I just want to give a shout out to Lake Compounds for giving us the venue. The senior motorcade is June 15th. It's going to be the same route as last year's. Graduation is on the 18th on the field, and we are very excited. Time really flew by. And Peppy's last PSA will be sent out tomorrow, giving details about all of the other events. Just to continue, we want to preface our last item with a thought. Most students don't get the opportunity to understand the depth to which it takes to run an extremely successful and connected school district. Over the past 2 years, Brett and I have been fortunate enough to experience how our school district is run. Not only is it the appreciation for how developed our school district is, but the appreciation of making connections, the appreciation of experiencing change, and the appreciation of being an active citizen. We are beyond fortunate to have been able to be student representatives.
Now, that being said, we want to thank Mr. Pepe for his zeal while being our principal. Although a short time spent at SHS, his kindness, empathy, and commitment to the students has developed SHS into what many of us considered to be a second home. Although not all of us may say it, I at least think it. Amr and I both started our position as representatives, just as Mr. Pepe started his role as principal at SHS. We were all given the opportunity to learn and develop, and that is what we believe to make this moment so bittersweet. Sure, you're moving 2 miles down the road, but the students who precede us will miss your charisma and character, something we will never forget. That being said, we are beyond excited for you to take up the position of Assistant Superintendent. We wish you all the best, Mr. Pepe. We would also like to thank Mr. Cannellan. Mr. Cannellan, in 2014, Amrit and I were just starting middle school. At that time, little did we know one day, in the not-so-far future, we would be sitting here with you. As all of the board members said, your decisions were always in the interest of the students, and we could not be more thankful for that. Again, this is a bittersweet moment as we say thank you for all your incredible work, and as we also sign off with you. We wish you all the best too, Mr. Cannellan. Now, lastly, we want to thank the board members presently here. Thank you all for your unconditional goodwill, support, compassion, and commitment. The time we have spent together has been unforgettable, and we would be remiss if we didn't thank you. Meeting after meeting, our time here has been invaluable. It's hard to put into words what our time here has meant, but if we could focus on one, it would be gratitude. So, thank you all.
Thank you. we do not have any committee reports.
Shannon? Zaya's back. Zaya's back.
Oh, Zaya's back?
Yes.
Oh, does he want,
Coming to you
okay, Zaya,
live
go
from
ahead.
Tennessee.
Go ahead, from Tennessee, tell us, Zaya.
Hold on. Are you on a second? Hold on.
Not really.
I tried.
Steve
Technology.
would sit on his laptop.
They should
This,
put me
can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Technology is wonderful. This just goes to show you how difficult of a year our teachers have had, right? So you're going along, everything's going great, and technology throws a little monkey wrench into it, and everything falls apart. So, but I'm back. So I understand. I had three things. I mentioned the live stream, it's still down, the funding clipped, and the third thing I want to talk about was the masks, right? So there, as I said, there's been a lot of discussion locally, statewide, nationally about masks. There's pros, there's cons, there's all kinds of discussion about it. And the CDC has come out with a lot of different types of statements on what to do, and currently has some protocols in place about masks and mask wearing, both indoors and outdoors. But in Connecticut, we do have the mask mandate that's in place through July 20th. And I know we've received a lot of emails regarding that. Mr. Cannellan, your responses that have gone out have been very clear and concise in explaining how we are mandated to be dealing with the mask issue up through the 20th. Where it goes after that is based on science, and we'll deal with that when that time comes. My feeling is that as a Board of Education, we should be modeling the behavior that we're asking our students, our staff, our teachers to be doing on a daily basis. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed that we're not. If I were there right now, I'd be wearing a mask, because we're asking those folks on a daily basis, 7-8 hours a day, to be wearing a mask at school. And I think for us as the board, we should be modeling the behavior we're asking them to live up to. So for us to wear one for an hour or two, regardless of what the CDC guidelines say, but to model the appropriate behavior that we're asking the students and staff to do, I really think that we should be wearing them. And for the next meeting on 2 weeks from now, I'll be wearing mine. After July 20th, we'll deal with it, what the results say, and how the district is handling it. But that's just my personal opinion, and I felt that it was important to say that this evening. So thank you.
Can I ask a question? 'Cause
So now-
you never asked me if I wanted to say anything.
Well, Mrs. Clark, excuse me, did you have something you wanted to say?
I have a question that I'd like to ask.
Well, you certainly may do that.
What time is the parade?
I have no idea.
Good. Mr. Pepe, what time is the parade? Or Mr.
To my calendar. Five.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Mr.
At the high
Bedancy?
school?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Pepe.
Thank you for helping Mrs. Clark, because she has some problems sometimes. Thank you.
Moving right along,
Mr.
Mrs.
Darnell.
Carmody,
I've got
moving right along.
two questions. One, will you be riding again, Mr. Pepe, this year? Okay.
You'll end up in their town.
Okay. And two, the board, I mean, last year we met. and
We're going to meet here and have
Gonna be
dinner
the same
together. We're
location?
going to have a picnic, yes. If the board members want to, we would all like to meet here at the Municipal Center. We have picnic tables,
Okay.
and we can, if you guys want to, like we did last year, and stand and cheer. I don't know where
Bring
Tim,
something loud.
you bring that thing and you're in trouble.
I'm bringing it.
I
have
know,
two
I know
this
you
year.
will.
That just guaranteed it.
Leave it.
But that'll be neat.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Mrs. Clark? Because I would never want to ignore you.
No, thank you, Mrs. Carmody. That was the question.
All right, I think now I will go on to, there are no committee reports. We have a personnel report. May I have a motion,
Yeah,
please?
move to approve the personnel report as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Old business, town government communications. Does anyone have anything? No? Okay, moving on. New business. I'm doing this without glasses, ED 099. What was that?
That was just a noise.
agreement for child nutrition program, authorized signature changes. Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can make the motion.
Make the motion, Colin.
Move that the Board of Education authorize Stephen Medancy and Jennifer Mellett as new signers for the ED-099 agreement for child nutrition program.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have unaffiliated.
Yes, there's two components of this.
Yes.
Do we need to keep them together?
I beg your pardon?
Do we need to keep them together?
That's how it's presented to us, Mr.
Yeah, then I would move to table this item until the next meeting then?
You're asking to table this item?
Correct.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it. Second, or Bob seconded?
Bob
Third it?
seconded?
Ate it?
Okay.
With it?
So I will have to ask the
No-
rest
no
of the board
discussion for
members.
table.
Are there any discussion?
No, there's no discussion.
No discussion for a table.
So this would be an item that's tabled.
Take a vote.
Missy,
Take a vote.
are you okay with tabling it? Bob?
Yes.
Terry? Fine? Colleen?
Yes.
Yep.
James? All right, so this will be tabled into our June 24th meeting during executive session, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I see one item that I love.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being together for the first
Thank
time,
you.
board
This is
members.
nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Very
being
nice.
together.
Come back, team.
We can